I don't want to watch your stupid video. Just tell me what are the best tier 4 upgrades for Fury Shield. Okay. Number 1, Fury passive. Number 2, Fury ultimate. Number 3, medic passive. Number 4, assault passive. Number 5, security special. And when we get Phil Coulson, number 6, Coulson passive. Number 7, Coulson basic. What's up, guys? So this video is sponsored by ClanHQ, which is a fully featured messaging app that specializes in building integrations for your favorite games. They've already got all the features you know and love, including stickers, GIFs, photos, albums, notes, reactions, extensive notification and badging settings, full admin controls, the ability to set up an alliance, assign leaders and officers, etc. But here's where it gets awesome. Because this app is designed to integrate with Marvel Strike Force, it will do a lot for you automatically, like create general leadership and announcement chats when you make an alliance, including chats for each strike team. You'll always be able to view someone's in-game name. You can flag yourself as looking for an alliance, or auto-post to recruiting chats if you're looking for members. You'll even be able to look at someone's profile and see things like their total collection power and strongest team power. I put a link to ClanHQ in the video description below, so you can be one of the first to check them out. What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Orange Essentials. Today we are going to be taking a look at the best tier 4 upgrades for Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. So let's get right into it. Alright, starting off we have Nick Fury's basic. When you take that from level 6 to level 7, it adds 30% damage to the primary target and 30% damage to the target that he chains to. A 30% damage increase on a basic is the definition of standard, so for me, that's a 2-star. Alright, looking at Nick Fury's special, the upgrade to level 7 adds 2,000 health and healing, and that's it. 2,000 flat health is just not much. Very rarely does it make a difference. I mean, late game, the average basic attack, when we're talking like 7-star characters with even just a couple red stars on them, we're starting to get to 10, 12, 15,000 damage on a basic attack easily. So 2,000 health is just not a lot, so this is barely a 2-star. Alright, now we're looking at Nick Fury's ultimate. Going from level 6 to level 7 on this ability is really good, because it goes from summoning 2 S.H.I.E.L.D. agents to summoning 2 to 3 S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. And if you get that third S.H.I.E.L.D. agent spawn, that's really good, because that is an extra opportunity for more buffs for Nick Fury. If it's another operative, you can get an additional dispel. If it's a second S.H.I.E.L.D. security, you can use the first one to slow and the second one to stun with the special, so there's a lot of hidden opportunity. And, as we already learned about summons, their ability level is tied to the level of the summoning ability, and S.H.I.E.L.D. security upgrading that special from level 6 to 7 adds 100% damage, if I remember correctly, but it's definitely a lot of damage. So it's way worth it to make the security summons hit way harder, the stun potential just off 2 securities, or the double dispel potential just off the operatives. I mean, this is really good. Plus, an extra summon on the field is just someone that an enemy can waste a big single target attack. I mean, that additional surviving summon could be who Spider-Man chooses to use his ultimate on. So way worth. For me, this is definitely 4-star. Now we're looking at Nick Fury's passive. So going from level 4 to level 5 on Nick Fury's passive goes from 30% chance to grant speed up on turn to 50%, and it goes from 20% chance to grant an assist now on any hero ally's turn to 30%. Both these things are absolutely incredible. The fact that you can get a 50-50 to get speed up every time Nick Fury takes a turn, really good, especially because it's not uncommon for it to happen 3-4 turns in a row, and if Nick Fury has speed up, then he spreads it with his special and makes sure that everyone gets it anyway, so it's really useful, even if you're using Fury on a team that isn't full Fury S.H.I.E.L.D. As for the assists, again going from 20 to 30%, and because it works on any hero ally's turn, if you're using a full Fury S.H.I.E.L.D. squad, they're all heroes, so yeah, it's just absolutely awesome. If you combo the fact that they get all this speed with the fact that most of them do turn meter rewind when they get crits, it's really nice. So absolutely, hands down, this is a 4-star. Alright, so now we'll take a look at S.H.I.E.L.D. Operative. So if you look at S.H.I.E.L.D. Operative's basic, it goes from 210% damage to 250% damage. So it's just a 40% damage upgrade. That's it. Operative, not really someone who has high base damage, so this is very standard. So for me, this is a 2-star. Alright, now we're looking at S.H.I.E.L.D. Operative's special, and going from level 6 to level 7 here adds 300 flat healing, and that's it. What is there to say? That is god awful 300 flat healing is not even remotely worth your tier 4s. That is just a garbage upgrade. That's a 1-star if I've ever seen one. Alright, now we're looking at S.H.I.E.L.D. Operative's passive. And instead of gaining 10% focus for Self and Nick Fury and all S.H.I.E.L.D. allies, it gives them 20%, which is really, really good for things like landing the slow and the stun from S.H.I.E.L.D. security, landing the dispel from Operative herself, in addition to the summoned operatives. In addition, on spawn, instead of applying a single counter to Nick Fury, it'll apply 2 counter. So it's definitely nice. I wouldn't say that it's essential. That 10% focus usually doesn't end up being an issue, but as the meta continues to evolve, this will be more and more important. So for me right now, this is a 3-star. All right, now we're looking at S.H.I.E.L.D. Trooper. S.H.I.E.L.D. Trooper, if you put tier 4s on this basic, it adds 40% damage. So while Trooper does have a little bit more damage than Operative, it's still not an insane amount of damage. If you're wondering about the damage from the actual counter attack that's part of S.H.I.E.L.D. Trooper's passive, that has nothing to do with the basic because it's not a normal counter attack, it's more of a reflect damage mechanic. So because this just adds 40% to the basic and that's it, for me this is a 2-star. Alright, now we're looking at S.H.I.E.L.D. Operative Special. So the S.H.I.E.L.D. Operative Special, when you add tier 4s, it adds 30% to the normal damage and 20% to the piercing. However, there's a couple things that make this a little bit better than it looks. The first is, when you do mixed damage, piercing becomes really, really valuable, especially when you get a crit with mixed damage, which is very likely given this team. And then having 100% piercing means that the normal damage is going into heavily reduced armor in addition to the piercing percentage itself. And it's a 50% damage upgrade, which isn't bad, and Trooper's base damage isn't bad, and this is only a 3-turn cooldown. So this is far from essential, but it's a nice enough chunk because it's the mixed damage that for me this is a 3-star. Alright, and now we're looking at the S.H.I.E.L.D. Trooper passive. So this just adds 40% damage to the reflect attack. So I know I've said already talking about S.H.I.E.L.D. Trooper that 40% damage isn't that much. However, I think it weighs a little bit more heavily here because this passive fire support, the counterattacking, it goes off a lot. So just because of how much extra damage this will lead to being output throughout a fight, because of how many of these counterattacks can go off, considering what a solid tank S.H.I.E.L.D. security is, for me, this is a 3-star. Alright, now we'll take a look at S.H.I.E.L.D. Medic. With S.H.I.E.L.D. Medic Basic, adding tier 4 to this ability adds 40% damage. And that's it. So, as you may have guessed, and as we've already discussed, 40%, very standard, really 30-40% is the standard increase for a basic, so because it's pretty standard, for me this is a 2-star. Alright, now we're looking at the S.H.I.E.L.D. Medic Special. When you put tier 4s in the S.H.I.E.L.D. Medic Special, it adds a whopping total of 400 flat healing. So if you watch, we just talked about Operative, same thing, 400 healing is absolutely negligible when your average late game basic is doing on the low end like 10,000 damage, so it's just absolutely awful. It's not even remotely worth it. This is, again, a clear 1-star. Do not upgrade this. Alright, now we'll look at the S.H.I.E.L.D. Medic passive. I really like the S.H.I.E.L.D. Medic passive, and it was one of the ones when Fury S.H.I.E.L.D. first came out that we underestimated a little bit. What it does is it changes the 20% max health heal and 2 turns of regen applied from a 30% chance to a 50% chance, and that's a lot. That healing goes really far because the regeneration is another 20% of S.H.I.E.L.D. Medic's health. So you're getting 40% of S.H.I.E.L.D. Medic's max health, and if regen is still bugged, I have to check, but if regen is still bugged, it's actually 60% over 2 turns, and that is so much health. Medic has a great health pool, and the 50% chance to proc can be just absolutely overwhelming in terms of how much healing it puts out, and when you upgrade it from 30 to 50%, it becomes somewhat common for you to get it 2-3 turns in a row, and that can absolutely make all the difference in a match. So hands down for me, this is a 4-star. Alright, so now we're looking at S.H.I.E.L.D. Assault. S.H.I.E.L.D. Assault's basic, when you add tier 4s, adds a whopping 10% piercing damage. And that's it. And that is not a lot. It's not good. That's a 1-star. Don't upgrade this. It's just negligible damage, even if it's mixed. Alright, now we're looking at the S.H.I.E.L.D. Assault Special. So when you put tier 4s into that, it adds 30% damage, and it is an AoE, so the 30% is worth a little bit more than it looks, but really that's it. I mean, 30% on an AoE is towards the lower end of a standard upgrade, so being that it's pretty standard, this is going to get by on a 2-star. Alright, and finally, we're going to look at S.H.I.E.L.D. Assault's passive. So S.H.I.E.L.D. Assault's passive is kind of the hidden engine that makes the entire Fury S.H.I.E.L.D. team work. I have experimented with leaving Assault off the team, and it goes better than I expected, but it's really, really nice if you're going to have Operative or Trooper or both. The Assault passive gives 40% extra crit, and they already have 10% base crit. When you put tier 4s in, it makes it so that instead of everyone being 50% crit chance, they all go up to 60% crit chance. And not only does that give them a big spike in damage, because they're all doing an extra 130% damage on the crits, but several of them have on-crit effects. If Nick Fury gets a crit, he gives ability energy. If S.H.I.E.L.D. Trooper gives a crit, he rewinds turn meter. If Operative gets a crit, that's more turn meter rewind. So not only does it greatly improve the damage of the entire team, but it enables the turn meter rewind to be fairly common, and a lot of their sustain comes from rewinding people's turn meter, which is just easily the strongest form of control. It's great. So hands down, this is a 4-star. Finally, we're going to take a look at S.H.I.E.L.D. security. So S.H.I.E.L.D. security, when you add tier 4s to the basic, it goes from 240% to 270%. And that is a 30% damage increase. And S.H.I.E.L.D. security is not someone with particularly high damage, so it's a very, very small change, and for that, it's a 2-star. Alright, now we're looking at the S.H.I.E.L.D. security special. This is another ability that we kind of took for granted when this team first came out. When you put tier 4s in the S.H.I.E.L.D. security special, it adds 50% damage to the first part of the attack, and another 50% to the bonus attack. So essentially, it adds 100% damage. And adding 100% damage is pretty good, especially because Fury Shields spawn with speed up. And so what they do with those first 5 turns is really, really important, because they get basically a 5-turn lead against most other teams. And what we found is that obviously, if you get a lot of good assists with Nick Fury passing out offense up, or if you have really high red stars on someone, this won't always be the case, but generally, this extra damage is enough to be the difference between killing someone in the opening volley or not. And so, especially with the ability to crit, this extra 100% damage goes really, really far. It is a lot more damage, and so for that reason, and because again, it kind of hammers home their first turn advantage of being able to kill that first target, for me, this is a 4-star. Alright, and finally, we're going to look at S.H.I.E.L.D. security's passive. If you put tier 4s in the S.H.I.E.L.D. security passive, it goes from 15% block chance to 20% block chance. And then he also gains another 10% block chance for every ally that's Nick Fury or a S.H.I.E.L.D. minion. So, he's already going to have 40% from his allies and then 15% from himself to be at 55%. Adding that extra 5% brings it up to 60% block chance, and it's just really good. S.H.I.E.L.D. security blocks a lot and takes hits really well. However, at the end of the day, it's only 5%, so we're talking a visible difference in 1 in 20 instances, and this is pretty standard for this, so I like it, but it's definitely not particularly strong, so for me, this is a 2-star. Alright, and finally, I just want to touch on Coulson, because you may notice that Coulson is on the graphic. So I was going to put Coulson in the video, and what I discovered when making this video is I had been referencing some JSON data that had Coulson's kit in it, including the ability upgrades, and then I checked that against MSF.gg. MSF.gg has completely different info. So then I went to MSF Tools, and MSF Tools has also completely different info. So we have 3 different Coulson kits. The one on MSF.gg just has X to X%. It's very unfinished. MSF Tools has clearly an unfinished kit because like he has a level 6 ult that's identical to his level 7 ult, and I know that's not right. So there was what I believe is from the most recent JSON, what I evaluated Coulson's kit on for the graphic, but I decided against covering it in this video just because there's so many Coulson kits flying around and it's kind of hard to gauge. So at the time, I felt that was right, but it's very likely to change. So, you know, just know that's what we were thinking. So, you know, if anything, the takeaway there is maybe save enough orange mats for 2 Coulson abilities. That's our most recent thinking, but who knows? ultimately I wouldn't worry too much about it. But I just wanted to put that note in case you were wondering why he was on the graphic and then not addressed in the video. I started covering him, and halfway through the recording I realized there's a bunch of different Coulson kits, and I don't know which one people are going to reference, and if they reference a different one than I did, they're going to question some of the recommendations, so I just wouldn't worry about it. But yeah, otherwise, that is the essential tier 4s for the Fury Shield team. So thank you guys very much for checking it out. Shout out to ClanHQ, of course, sponsoring the video. Shout out to Veteran for doing an excellent job editing these. I love what he does with Orange Essentials. Definitely show that some love in the comments below. If you're watching this, I am at PAX West in Seattle. So if you're also at PAX West, or if you live in the Seattle area, message me on Discord. Come say what's up. I do have another video coming out for you guys while I'm here. So I will see you guys real soon. Peace!